Ladies are in the studio, Grace Ling and Luping are going to talk us through the process of creating their own skincare brand.
On 938 Live.
Back in your style file in the Culture Cafe, we're chatting now with the founders of local skincare brand Dermagold. Grace Ling and Luping are going to talk us through the process of how they created their own skincare brand and put together a line of dermatological products for Asian skin. Grace, Luping, great to have both of you here.
Hi.
Let's talk about how
having us on your program.
It's a real pleasure to have you here because we're very curious about what exactly goes into our skincare, right? Both of you met a long time ago. You were childhood friends. Tell us about how you guys came together and decided, hey, we wanted to start our own skincare line.
We were actually primary school classmates, and then it started like 10 years ago when I was like this fanatic to look for perfect skin. So I was like always like trying to concoct the perfect potion or walking around places looking for a perfect potion for good skin. And Luping?
Well, as for myself, I suffered from teenage acne and it left me with much scarring. And that affected my social life, my self-esteem, as well as my self-confidence. Even after the active acne had settled, I continued to have enlarged pores, clogged pores, oily skin, and of course the acne scars, and this really upset me and I was really very frustrated. At that time, I did try some medical clinical grade skincare, but I found that they were not suitable for me because they were quite rich, because they were not they were not ideal for the humid local climate. So I decided, well, and since Grace was my good friend and we got along really so well, we decided that, okay, because of our different needs, we'll come together to, as a hobby initially, to start up something that would help us and improve our skin.
Grace, I mean, you were concocting skincare products at home on your own? These were home remedies or what?
No, our line now is not a home concocted thing, but in the past I used to experiment with like fruits or natural ingredients at home. That was just like purely out of fun, not related to Dermagold. Right. But I actually had an interest in getting perfect skin. I mean, that was my goal. Because I actually had perfect skin until I was 25. And at 25, what happened is I started to have clogged pores. So because of that, I went around and bought a lot of over-the-counter stuff which didn't really work ideally. You know, later I actually treated myself because I was a general practitioner, so I treated myself with medical kind of skincare. It got better, but after I got better, I couldn't continue with using that because they was, you know, they had this funny smell and they was a bit too harsh, and the texture was not really what I want, because I had my own personal idea of a perfect skincare, which is like it needs to be nice and enjoyable when you apply it. It needs to smell good.
Angela, I'm feeling very conscious right now. I'm going to cover my face as I talk to you women because my pores are the types that can hold coins.
It's not that bad.
Well, if you're looking at, you know, that niche you're trying to fill, because we look at medicinal skincare and then we also look at the vast range that's out there but doesn't really cater to the individual. Is that where you're trying to fill in? How did both of you come together to start a skincare line? What goes into the process behind putting this together?
I would say two things. I think passion, it's the first, and second is perseverance, because passion usually starts with like your own personal need or interest. So both of us had a genuine need lah. I mean, she had acne scars and then I had clogged pores, so we needed to find something. So because we couldn't find, and the medicinal, like what you said, it served the need for a period of time, but it was something that I couldn't continue for the rest of my life. So our dream was kind of to create our own skincare so that we could use for the rest of our life. And we have been, I'm proud to say, we've been using it for the last 10 years.
Right. And if we're looking at what actually goes on in terms of research, in terms of knowing the ingredients that goes into your skincare, what have you guys done to make sure?
Who did you have to hire to
put this together?
I think for us, we kind of like, we were very privileged to work with a very, very good manufacturer from Israel. So that's actually where it all started. I mean, 10 years ago, we were pretty young. So we were kind of like looking around. We did a lot of research, but we were hooked up with some very reputable manufacturers, and we were looking, we found this really exotic ingredient called sea buckthorn. That was actually what sparked our interest. because we, at that time it was not that well known in the world. Actually, now Dr. Oz touts it as a super berry, and a lot of people do know about it. But 10 years ago, actually, to be very fair, we heard about it from a friend who was a very reputable skincare manufacturer. So this sea buckthorn is kind of like had this miraculous kind of stuff that is supposed to be like a skincare remedy.
I want to talk a little bit about this idea of a miracle ingredient, because a lot of skincare lines are built on the idea that it's based on some superfood or something that has apparently miraculous properties. But how often is the science backing this up? And how can we reassure people who are buying these products? And as consumers, how do we know that these products actually work?
I think first of all, check the labels. All right. And then secondly, you got to know like who's behind the brand. For us, I think we are lucky because we have a medical background. So that kind of helped us in our research, when we started off. But it started off not as a commercial kind of thing. It started off more as a hobby. But later we kind of built it in a way that, to sell to some people because like friends came to hear about it and family members, so we both input differently. Maybe Luping wants to share something because sometimes, we contribute.
Luping, I found what you said earlier really interesting, that you were crafting something that was good for our humid weather. I think, we very rarely find products that
so
are
this
for
is
our
also
weather.
our niche, and because through our work, connection with patients and friends, a lot of people commented that majority of the skincare out there in the market are thicker in texture, and despite using these products, their skin could not stay matte, and they tend to have clogged pores. And I also found that for myself personally, so even though my active acne cleared, I continue to use some of these medical grade products, but I continue to have those clogged pores, and especially my T-zone was still oily. So both of us decided that we wanted light textured skincare that was suitable for our humid Asian climate, because and that could layer well and not clog pores. And yet,
when you guys were working with your manufacturers, did you use yourselves as guinea pigs?
Definitely. We tried a lot and different types of products that were and formulations before we decided that these were the ones that would be suitable for our Asian climate.
How long was that testing period though? How long would you give yourself before you can see effects or say, no, this isn't right?
Well, we actually took about 12 months to come up with the first basic set of skincare, and then we continue to build on this range of skincare over the years, because as doctors as well as users of our own skincare, and as we continue to age, we wanted different our different needs caused us to actually refine as well as expanded our skincare range.
Do you have products that cater to men in particular? Because when you look at humid weather as a niche, as something that we need for men as well, they might find some problems getting skincare specific to their kind of pore size maybe, or the type of skin they have. Is it safe for the men to use as well, some of these products?
Definitely. The men love our products because they are really light textured, and men tend to have oilier skin with more oil and large pores, so they found that the skincare actually kept the skin matte and sheer, and reduce the pores, reduce the clogged pores.
In terms of marketing, you guys are going up against the big brands, right? The big boys out there who have been
definitely
there for.
It's very competitive.
How are you placing yourselves and pushing through?
I think for us, a lot of people who are using it right now is through word of mouth. Initially, that was the first group, so there was a lot of trust and genuine. It's like they knew that we were genuine, and because we started this for ourselves as a hobby, so it was something that we truly believed in. We didn't really do this to make money initially. It's only actually about 2 years ago we kind of decided to take a challenge and push ourselves to so-called be more serious skincare entrepreneurs, because our fans, our family kind of spurred us on to take it further. So we actually did a revamp of our logo and our brand visuals last year, and so it actually came out with a new launch last year for the look, and we have been pushing a bit more. Of course, if you're talking about competition with the big guys, yes, in a way, we may not have that kind of marketing budget, but I think we actually have an advantage in that our in that our skincare has this special ingredient, and the other thing is it's really light texture. So when you compare some of our skincare, we are actually made for our local climate, as compared to a lot of other skincare brands which are more suitable for temperate countries. Very few people actually manufacture skincare just for the
specifically
equator.
for that.
Yeah, so we actually have even like expat users when they actually use their skincare in their own country, it works. And it could be a good brand. I mean, many brands out there are actually good. A lot of research has gone into it. But when they come to Singapore, it doesn't work so well for them, and then it just starts clogging.
In a way, the personal touch to it, I suppose, would really speak to Singaporeans who want a skincare from people who really understand their needs as well. So we're talking to the Dermagold ladies today. Grace Ling and Luping are founders of this local skincare brand. You can check them out if you like, Dermagold, and telling us a bit more about the brand and what goes into putting a line of skincare together. Ladies, it's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
This has been your Style File here in 938 Live with Daphne Lim. I'm Angela Lim. Thanks so much for tuning in.
938 Live. Be informed.